Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jose Barzola. I'm here from the Mats'na'i Institute for Peace at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. Welcome to the 34th Annual Peer Mediation Conference, Adventures in Peer Mediation. The Peer Mediation Conference is bringing together youth peer mediators for over 30 years. This is the first year the conference has gone virtual to connect peer mediators around Hawaii and others aspiring to develop their own peer mediation program. This year's Peer Mediation Conference is brought to you as a collaborative and a wonderful support by 22 different organizations around Hawaii that support this conference that is spread out throughout the month of April. The Peer Mediation Conference consists of an opening panel, 16 skill workshops, and a closing panel. You can definitely learn more about our events at matsna'iinstitute.eventbrite.com. Today's event will focus on communicating emotions and needs training with Majidah Lebarre. So thank you so much for joining us today to learn about peer mediation skills. This session is an opportunity to learn about basic concepts of empathy, connect emotions with needs, and learn how to use the I statement to communicate needs and emotions. Majidah Lebarre is a program manager at Kuakahi Mediation Center on the Big Island of Hawaii, where she teaches and develops curriculum for peer mediation and coordinates community workshops and trainings. She earned her Bachelor's of Arts in Political Science from Washington State University and the Master's of Arts in International Relations from the University of Sussex in the United Kingdom. To get us started, I'm going to turn it over to our guest speaker today, Majidah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jose. Really appreciate being here and doing this. This is my second training that I've done. So I'm really excited for this training. So thank you all for being here as well. I really appreciate it. So so my name is Majidah Lebarre. I work at a place called Kuakahi Mediation Center. We're located in Hilo, just right across the street from the courthouse, so that makes it easy. And what we do here is we offer mediations, we offer facilitations and trainings as well. I am currently in the mediation room where we have our in-person mediations. As you can see, I'll give you a little show around. So you can see the mediation room here. The door's closed. And so folks can come here and talk, and then we have this wonderful view that looks out at Wailoa Park, which you cannot see because the sun has shifted, but it's there. There's water there. And it's a nice, beautiful, sunny day. So it's good to be here in Hilo. So our training today is about understanding our emotional needs and why it's important, because so we can better understand ourselves, where those emotions come from, and how to express them in a productive way. Okay, so just so you all know, so you all are muted, but feel free to go ahead and use the chat box and participate in that way, as well as that if you have the correct version, you should have some emojis that you can use as well. So feel free to use the emojis and as well as the chat box, so we can all be here and participate. Yay, see Jose is clapping. So he's utilizing the emojis. Karen is too, thank you. All right, so that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right, communicating emotions and needs. So where you can better understand where those emotions come from, how to express them in a productive way. And with this, not only do you get more of your needs met, but you're able to understand and connect with others in relation to those feelings and needs. So as a peer mediator, folks, you know, even as an adult mediator as well, we encounter a lot of emotions. And then because conflict is very emotional. And so understanding where your peers come from is going to be important to develop trust, so you can help move them to discover their own best interest and own best solutions, excuse me. So in this brief training, we're going to go over our basic needs as human beings, the range of emotions that we can encounter, and learn a few tips on how to express emotions in a safe way. And this is all tied together because the more you can recognize and understand your own emotions, you develop more empathy as well as emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your own emotions and distinguish them from others, for someone else's emotions, okay? Because sometimes you can just get someone's feeling angry and you realize you're getting angry too. So that emotional intelligence is being able to be like, oh, this person is angry, and then and then separating that from your own emotions. Okay. So our emotions just don't come out of thin air. They are actually a result of needs being met or unmet. So this chart right here that you have on your screen is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He was a psychologist who came up with this. And, you know, as you know, some of you adults will probably know about Maslow and this chart. And if you're a student, you might get introduced to this later on. But just for this purpose, we're just going to show you the graph. And it does have its limitations, but it's still a good visual for the basic needs that we all have as human beings, and every human being, okay, to some degree or another, needs these things listed. So at the bottom of the needs, at the bottom of that list, what we all need is the physiological needs. Okay, everyone needs to eat, and food and sleep and water and breathing and good health. We all need that as human beings. Is there anyone in here that doesn't need to eat? Anyone? No? Maybe Jose. Jose doesn't need to eat today. He ate yesterday. But everyone needs it. So everyone needs that, and everyone needs some sense of safety as well. That safety and security of body, of employment, resources. We all need that. We all need security. We all need love and belonging. Everyone needs a friend, a family member to talk to, and then social interactions as well. Everyone needs that. The next is esteem. So that looks like self-esteem, that confidence, self-respect, and respect for others. We all need this. And at the top of that pyramid is what they call self-actualization, which includes living your passions, being creative, having understanding, and being moral as well. And this is good to understand for ourselves and when peer mediating, because we all need each of these to some degree or another, whether we need love and belonging more so than security or health, is dependent upon the individual. So how these needs fall in the pyramid is debatable. That's the debatable part, but the need is still there. And we can all perhaps, pretend that we don't need these things. And perhaps it's even hard to vocalize those needs, because I know just for myself, I have a really hard time expressing needs, because it makes me feel, a little vulnerable. Like I'm weak, and I don't like to display weakness. Nobody likes to display weakness. And so maybe some of you can relate to that. But if you look at it that everyone has these needs, that it's not so much about vulnerability, but just being a part of our humanness, Okay, my little emoji slide. So don't ignore your emotions or your feelings, but also don't let them control you as well. They're telling you something, whether that feeling is like uplifting and you feel like, yeah, that feeling comes from a need being met. Or if you're feeling like depressed and you don't want to do very much, that emotion is there because of a need being unmet. So they're telling you something, and sometimes it's really tricky to figure out exactly what's happening or what's wrong, because sometimes we're not sure exactly what the need is, or maybe we think it's a certain need, but it's not really. So we're not exactly sure what that need is. So, that's when we have to take a step back and think about it, right? Reflect a little bit. So feelings arise when needs are met or not met. And our feelings are related to the trigger, but they're not the trigger. They're not caused by the trigger, but their source is our own experience of a met or unmet need. Okay, and then Jose is going to send out this PowerPoint slide, and with the PowerPoint slide, a part of that handout, you're going to get a list of needs, and that I got from the Center for Nonviolent Communication. And on one side, it has a list of needs, and on the other side, it has a list of feelings. And I really like this list because it just, we're so much more than happy, sad, mad. Happy, sad, mad. Though we have so many more emotions than that, and that list is really good at diving deep into some of those different emotions that we can express. Instead of being tired, maybe we're not just tired, maybe we're exhausted. So that list is a really good list to show what those needs and those feelings are. So you'll get that, everyone who attended this training. So this will help you connect that feeling with the need. And the handout will also give you words to use to foster connection between the students in conflict. So the list is good to use for yourself as well as in peer mediation. It will help you get more in touch with your needs and feelings. And with that, you'll be able to help others connect to their needs and feelings as well. So an example of this is, and I'm sure you've all, maybe you've had this, is, when you get hangry. Okay, so I'm sure you've all experienced that when you're hungry, which is an unmet physiological need because you haven't had food, then you start getting irritated. You're like, oh man, you start maybe getting a little angry, and maybe all these other emotions crop up when you haven't eaten. So because of that unmet need, you get angry. So there's the unmet need, and there is the emotion that crops up. Okay, anyone in here been hangry before? Can you? Yeah, yeah. I think we can relate that hangriness, and it's like right after lunchtime. So if you haven't had lunch right now, you might get hangry. So another example of this. Say you were all, the students on the call may have done this before as well, or some of you adults who've watched Netflix late at night because you can't watch this. You want to finish your TV series, and so say you were up all night watching YouTube or Netflix. You're in your room, you're watching it. And the next day you get up, and you got to get up to go to school. You got to get up to go to work early, and you're feeling exhausted. You're like, oh my gosh, why am I so sleepy? I need another cup of coffee. Okay. So your feeling isn't the trigger. the trigger is the unmet need of sleep. Okay, so see how that works. And sometimes, you know, we can be feeling really exhausted and we may not even consciously know why. Like, man, should have went to sleep on time instead of watching Netflix all night. I've done that. So you see how that all works? So can any of you identify, if you can, identify some of your emotions and needs that is associated with them? And if you could type that in the chat box, I'd love to see that. Just some different examples of having a need and then having the emotion that comes out of it as well. You know, besides being hangry or lack of sleep. I'd love to hear some of your examples. And this is all tied together because the more you recognize and understand your own emotions, you develop more empathy, as well as emotional intelligence. That's the emotional intelligence, is being able to distinguish your emotion from the other person's emotions. Okay, so you recognize your emotion. Oh, I know where that's coming from. I realize where that is from. And then you can distinguish the other person's, where they're coming from as well. And so it gives you more empathy for other folks. When you know, you can feel, oh, you know, they may be hangry right now because I don't think they had breakfast. You know, so you can have empathy with another person by understanding your own emotions and needs. Okay, has anybody heard of the word empathy before? There's some students on here, so most of you have, but just in case, I'm gonna share a video because
Oh, we do have a raised hand by someone in the audience right now. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but if you raise your hand, you can just put in the chat what your question is, and we'll be sure to get to it.
Yes, thank you. All right, until then, we're going to watch a short little video. Okay. This is geared towards middle school and high school students. So I'm going to play a clip from Sesame Street. However, I don't know what adult doesn't like Sesame Street. So this is for adults too. Okay, so we'll watch the video together.
Hello, I'm Mark.
And I'm Murray.
And we're here to tell you about the word empathy.
Empathy, yes, empathy.
Tell them about the word empathy. What's wrong?
You're not going to believe this, Mark.
What?
But I can't remember what empathy means.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'll tell them what empathy means.
Oh, boy. This is so exciting. Mark Ruffalo is going to tell us about empathy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Can I do it?
No, please, go for it, Mark.
All right. Empathy is when you're able to understand and care about how someone else is feeling.
Oh, right. That's what empathy is.
Yes, yes.
I don't get it.
What?
Sorry.
Okay. Let me see if I can explain it to you in some way.
Okay, I'm going to listen.
Let's say I'm walking along and oh,
What?
I stubbed my toe. Oh, that hurts.
Oh, you poor thing.
Murray.
Oh,
Murray.
that hurts. I
It
can
hurts
imagine
so much.
exactly how you feel.
That's it.
Oh, wow, what's it?
That's it. That's empathy.
What's empathy?
You could imagine exactly how I feel. You could understand just how it felt. That's empathy.
I still don't get it.
What?
I still don't get it.
Okay. Let's think of another way.
Okay, let's think of another way. Thinking.
Oh, Murray.
What?
Did I tell you about that time when I lost my favorite teddy bear?
Oh, no.
It was.
This is very sad. Did you love that teddy bear?
I love that teddy bear.
Oh, I can imagine exactly how you feel. It's really sad feeling. It makes me want to cry like this.
It was sad. It was so sad. But you know what?
What?
You know what empathy is.
I do?
That was empathy.
What?
You could understand how I was feeling, exactly how I was feeling, and understood it. That's empathy.
I get it now. Yes. Yes, I get it.
Yes,
I
yes.
understand empathy.
You understand empathy,
I'm
Murray.
so happy right now.
I'm
It
happy
makes me want
too.
to dance the dance of happiness.
I can imagine exactly how you feel. I want to dance the dance of happiness
So
too.
what are we waiting for?
Let's do it! Empathy! Hello, I'm Mark,
And I'm Murray. Oh,
and we're here to tell you about the word empathy.
empathy.
Started playing again. So that was just a little cute video showing you all what you know, empathy, and you know, it's got the Hulk in it, you know, Hulk, you know. Sorry, I just had to do that. Because the Hulk, who runs around like angry all the time, is the perfect person to do that. So I hope you all enjoyed that. So you see, it's not just for kids. It's I think it's relatable to adults as well. So so that empathy does help. Sorry, I just totally lost my spot as well. There we go. So understanding your emotions and can help you empathize with other person. And there's a whole other people. And there's a whole body of research to show the effects of having empathy for others and the psychological effects that it has, and it contributes to well-being and all of this, but we're not going to go into that. So, but empathy is a big part of it as well. So I hope you all enjoyed that and can understand, can make the connections. Woo. Okay, so we're going to discuss a couple of techniques that should help you safely communicate your emotions and needs. Okay, the first is to respond, do not react. And how to develop this technique to respond instead of react is this man called Maxwell Maltz, who created psycho-cybernetics, who wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, calls it letting the telephone ring. So if you can imagine, you get triggered by something, or you know, you're not you feel, you see something and your emotion starts flaring up. You're like, what is that? So how to respond instead of react is just like when the telephone rings. Instead of jumping up and running to go get the phone, you check your phone. Oh, who's that? Who's texting me? You can just let it ring. And what this does, it just delays your response a little bit, and it allows your fight or flight responses in the back of the brain, and it allows just that extra couple of seconds to come into your prefrontal cortex. Okay, just that little bit of time to have your brain just and then respond instead of react. And so to do this, let the telephone ring. Somebody calls you, and if you develop this technique where you just let the telephone ring, what that does is it'll train your brain to just then delay your reactions, to respond instead of react. Because you know, you're really excited because your best friend is calling you, or your new boyfriend or something is calling you, and you know they're gonna call. And so, you know, you're like, oh my gosh, it's gonna call me. No, just let it ring. Breathe, let it ring, okay? So like I said, that trains your brain to respond instead of react. And it only allows a few moments of time to allow for a response. It only takes a couple of moments to allow for a response instead of a reaction, okay? So another way that you can express your needs in a positive way is by using I statements. Okay, and this looks like taking responsibility for your own feelings. Instead of like, you're always making me angry. You're making me angry. Okay, it takes responsibility responsibility for your own feelings. It doesn't put it on someone else. And this is what it looks like. You know, I feel hurt when you leave me out of the game. I feel happy when I get good grades. I feel mad when the ball is taken away from me. Okay, so it's identifying the emotion that you have. Okay, and then the action that then caused that emotion. Okay, so you take responsibility for your own feelings, then you point out the action that made you feel that way. And someone might not agree with how you feel, but you've pointed out how it does, how it does make you feel and the action that caused it. So this doesn't blame others for your own emotions or your own feelings, and gives the other person an opportunity to correct themselves as well. So I feel hurt when you leave me out of the game. If I tell that to any one of you, then that gives you the opportunity to go, oh, you know, to have some empathy for me. Like, oh, you know what, she feels hurt. You know, nobody likes to feel hurt, okay? So let's include her in the game in a way that we can, okay? So that gives the other person the opportunity to help correct themselves by using an I statement. So it takes away that blame and that sting too, because nobody likes to feel blamed, okay? And so your feelings will be stated, and it empowers you to use your voice in a way that it's safe. So I statements help with conflict because you have your voice heard and you express how the actions affect you. And this can help begin the talk about what happened. Okay. So, and for the last kind of few minutes, if we can all kind of share in the chat box, because I want to practice this doing the I statements, because it's not, I mean, for me now that I've practiced it and I've gone in, it's kind of intuitive now. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I feel, I'm in touch with my feelings. And what triggers those feelings. But, you know, maybe, you know, we all need to practice on that. So if you could use your chat box. So, and I'll give you a scenario and then you can tell me how you would respond using an I statement. So say you're playing a game with the ball. You're playing a game with the ball. And I come over and I take that ball away from you. Think of an I statement and write it down in the chat box when you think of one. I feel when, and I'm going to go ahead and stop this so I can see what some of the responses are as well. Okay. I feel upset when you take the ball away from me. I feel startled when you took the ball. I feel startled when you took the ball away without asking first. I feel that you are not considering me when you act like that. I feel disempowered when you took the ball out of my hands. I feel confused when you took away the ball. I feel agitated when you take the ball. I do not appreciate it when you took the ball away. Okay. I'd have to say with that last one, when you do not, well, I guess appreciation could be a feeling as well. When you have a sense of a feeling of appreciation. Yeah. Very good. So now say, I mean, because we're all, you know, pretending like we're middle school students here. So say we're in line for lunch and I push you out of the way, cut you in line because I'm getting in the line first. I'm getting lunch before you do. Could you write an I statement for that? I feel angry when you cut in line in front of me. I feel hurt when you pushed me. For sure. Those are some good examples because it says what's happening, how you feel. I feel frustrated when you did not wait your turn in line. Yeah, how you would feel, and then the action that caused that. You know, and I'm saying I feel. We're saying I feel. But you know, that's just the simple way to say it. Obviously, you can express your feelings without saying I feel ... But you know, as a student, and even just you're just learning this, you can use that as well. Because some people get like a little like when you start talking about your feelings, you know, you got to start getting a little uncomfortable. You know, you're talking about feelings here. So it could just be simply like, I'm irritated that you cut in front of me. You take out the feeling part, but you are letting them know a feeling that you're having, okay? And you're not blaming them, okay? I feel we all should wait our turn. Oh, it says, I feel anger when I witness injustice. I felt annoyed when you cut in line. Very good. So those are just a couple of techniques that you can use in order to express your emotions in a way that's safe. Yeah, because you know we want to feel safe. We want to feel, that's one of those physiological needs that we have, is to feel safe. So expressing ourselves in a safe way is important. Okay. All right. Did the person who had a question, did they end up putting their question in the chat box?
No, they didn't. I imagine it might have just been an error that they accidentally pushed something. I think we're good to go.
Okay. Oh. Because with that, I'd like to leave you this beautiful picture of the sunset going down at Hapuna Beach. For me, the best beach like ever. Okay. And thank you. Really appreciate all of you for being here. And please feel free, like as Jose put down as well, feel free to share any questions. I'd be happy to answer them.
I think you did a very thorough training. I don't think any questions. Oh, let's see. Oh, we do have a question. I think that adults feel much more uncomfortable with I statements than middle schoolers. Any advice? Oh.
You know, that's interesting because I think I've found that as well, because it was really hard for me to make that transition to say I statements, because it seems to be like we're putting it's egotistical in a way, like it maybe seem like it's ego, like we're that oh well, nobody cares how you feel, why are you talking, why are you in your feelings, and you know, being in your feelings, that that didn't come out of that statement, that phrase didn't come out of anywhere, because it didn't come from just out of the blue. You know, and I think it's just one of those things that we just have to work towards. You know, the more people that feel comfortable expressing their feelings, the more people that realize that we're all vulnerable in some way, shape, or form, then that we can that we can state it clearly. But yes, I agree that it is difficult for some adults, including myself, who had to work through that. In Colorado, the middle schoolers practice the I statements. When people come to mediation, feelings are hurt. For sure. And as the peer mediators themselves, they may not be using I statements, because as a peer mediator, it's not necessarily about them. So, but I'm a big component of, if you know how to do it, then you can help other people learn how to do it too. But if you don't know how to do it, if you don't know how to adequately share your feelings or your thoughts and communicate, then it's hard for you to be that person who, as a peer mediator, that you're getting folks to share their feelings when you don't know how to share your feelings. So I think it's a part of that. That's why I put those I statements in there. As a peer mediator, you yourself won't necessarily be giving I statements to the people in conflict, because they're in conflict. They need to be giving the I statements. But knowing the technique and realizing the technique, I think, is important for peer mediators. Oh, I'm a high school student from Hawaii. Most kids my age don't use these I statements. You know, I would think that with more nonviolent communication techniques that are being shared, that this is coming up more often. So if you're in high school, you may not have been introduced to it, but now elementary and middle school students are being introduced to it. So, but that's good that you're here in this training, because now you have been introduced to using I statements, and then you can try it out as well. You know, you're in high school, and instead of using you statements where it's blaming other people, you can use I statements and see how that works out for you, and see if it fosters better, you know, better relationships and better communication. And if it works, keep using it. If it doesn't work, don't use it. Okay. Okay, so I think the reason I use I don't appreciate statements is to leave the emotion factor out of the equation. It is really difficult for folks to express feelings. You know, especially, you know, culturally, you know, socially, it's not like expressing your feelings. You're like, what? You're expressing your feelings? It's only reserved for those, you know, for your close friends. But just because you state it doesn't mean that it's not, just because you didn't state it doesn't mean that it's not there. You can see if someone's angry. If someone's angry and they're angry, you know, it really helps to acknowledge that I'm angry. I'm angry. And just by acknowledging that instead of just running and punching a wall or kicking something, or, you know, then you can, that's the safe way to express it. Because if you're angry, you're angry. We all have emotions, and to deny our emotions is just like, now solely reacting on our emotions and letting our emotions overwhelm us, you know, that's another thing. And that's why I gave you those practices that for responding and not, you know, reacting, and doing the I statements, because that's a way to how to safely express your emotions. But we all have emotions, and we all have feelings, whether we acknowledge them or not. They're still there. We still get hangry when we don't eat. Okay, Because I agree. I feel like students use more you statements rather than I statements, for sure. And adults as well. A lot of you statements. And, you know, and they probably need to go to peer mediation after that. Because feelings can get hurt because nobody likes to get blamed. Yeah, nobody likes to feel like that pressure where you're blaming me for your own emotions. You know, now if you tell me the cause of that emotion and that an action that I did, then I can correct that, but I can't necessarily correct your feeling. Okay. And then the one last statement before we close out. I know anger management classes teach the I statements practice, assertive conversation. Yeah. Learning nonviolent communication is a lifetime game changer if it gets practiced and used, for sure. And nonviolent communication does have some of its drawbacks that can be argued, but it is still a very useful tool in identifying needs and feelings and understanding where people are coming from when they have those feelings. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the participation, the folks that have come here. We have some students, we have some adults, and thank you, Jose. It's exciting.
No, thank you. And I think what really resonates is just how when one is in the heat of the moment and angry, it's easier to observe, what you're seeing and say, this is what you're doing. It's really hard sometimes to take a step back and just acknowledge how that's making me feel, and starting out with the I. And so, but yeah, you're right. There's so much like cultural, gender, social norms embedded that just, all that mixed bag that complicates our lives. But I think, yeah, the more practice we have, all the better. So yeah, I'd say definitely getting some of those nonverbal communication skills, some gender neutral language is helpful as well, because you never know how you might be potentially, excluding someone, or before you even like talk to them, you could have done something nonverbally that they're like, oh, I really don't like that person, so I think as long as we kind of approach things with kindness and respect and open arms, we can hopefully try to bridge those gaps. But thank you so much for just everything you did today. Thank you, Majidah, for providing us such an amazing skills workshop and for sharing your these two past events this past month. I truly appreciate your insights into peer mediation, your approach as a peace builder and conflict resolver, and most of all, your passion and kindness in all that you do. It's truly been an honor to collaborate with you. So thank you. And last but not least, thank you to everyone who's joined today's webinar. We deeply appreciate your interest and support in joining us to learn about peer mediation programs throughout Hawaii, the 34th Annual Peer Mediation Conference of Interest in Peer Mediation. And as just a friendly reminder, we have about 8 events left in the conference, so I hope you'll all be joining us soon enough. So thank you again, everybody.